Alright, welcome into this all-new episode of Let's Talk Soda Pop. And in this episode, we're going to be going over the history of Pal Ade. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to be talking about its origins, different places it was bottled, the different flavors it had, among other things. So, let's get it started. So, Pal was first trademarked in the 1940s. It started around 1945. It was popular in different states across the East Coast. Pal was based in Washington, D.C. Pal licensed their brand to regional bottlers. So what that means is different bottlers in different states, different places, could bottle this drink. And for a time, Pal had some connections with some other drinks, like Great Bet and Cheerwine. So in different places, it would be labeled as Great Bet Pal or Cheerwine Pal, that kind of thing. So I do believe that fits into this category. So two interesting points about Pal was it was non-carbonated and it was pasteurized. So any non-carbonated drink does not have fizz. So for a soda, that was uncommon, especially back in this particular time period. And being pasteurized was also uncommon. Truade later on was non-carbonated and pasteurized. It was pretty much the same drink. We'll be talking about them in a future episode. But these two things were uncommon for a soda at that time. So I think those two things make Pal unique. It was heavily marketed as an orangeade. Now, orange wasn't the only flavor it had. Orange was the main flavor for Pal, but Pal also had grape, and they even had a chocolate flavor. So those are the three main flavors that have surfaced. But orange, like I said, was the main flavor. So in addition to that, another interesting point is that it was made with real fruit juice. Moving forward, Pal was bottled at different regional plants throughout the East Coast. That goes back to what I said at the top. Now, going back to something else I said at the top, relating to different bottlers having a license to the brand, Diamond Ginger Ale was a producer of Pal. It was bottled in Waterbury, Connecticut. So again, that is an example of a company bottling Pal with that license. So throughout its history, Pal had a lot of print ads, showing the bottles and different things like that. But the drink faded in the early 1960s. So in 1960, the final ad campaigns for Pal came up, and the final ad campaign stopped around that time. And one ad that came up in 1960 that is really interesting is an ad for Truade, but it does have a connection to Pal. It shows these bottles, and these had to have been some of the first Truade bottles to come out. These Truade bottles in this ad have the Pal logo at the top of the bottle, and a lot of these bottles over the years have come up, and that is the first type of bottle I want to go over here in this episode. So this bottle has the Pal heart-shaped logo at the top on both sides, and then it's Truade from there with their logo, ingredients, things like that. So it's a Truade bottle, but with the Pal logo. The two companies were connected. Both drinks were the same. So this is a really interesting bottle. And one of these ads from 1960 does have this bottle promoting it. I think it's one of the more unique bottles that you will find. So the next bottle I want to go over is the standard Pal bottle, the one that you see a lot. This one has the Pal logo at the top on both sides, but then you have hearts going around. This was a really common thing on the Pal bottles. It was part of their design. Then you had the Pal logo in the middle, and then on the back you had the ingredients and where it was bottled. So the next bottle here is a 6-ounce bottle. This is a smaller bottle. Has the Pal logo on the front, in the middle, like all the others did. And then on the back, it shows 4 different cities in North Carolina. And North Carolina is one of the states that Pal was bottled in the most. More on that in a minute. And the last bottle I want to go over here is a green variation bottle. These bottles are rare. It looks the same as the second bottle I mentioned, the standard Pal bottle. It is that bottle, but it's green. And green glass, it was a really common thing in the days of embossed bottles. Both ACL bottles, applied cola label bottles. I mean, you see it with Bubble Up, Mountain Dew, 7-Up, drinks like that. But for Pal, it was a variation, so that's what makes it rare. And there was also Pal Cola. These bottles were brown, with a different shaped heart, with a different font, saying Pal. And there was also another green variation with that same Pal Cola font and the same heart style. So when you're collecting Pal, there's a lot of different options that you have. There isn't just one bottle style or one logo. There's a lot you can look for. So now going into the point about Pal being bottled in North Carolina, it was bottled in places like Falston, Greensboro, Salisbury, Roanoke Rapids, and Charlotte, to name a few. Original patents for the process of pasteurization that created Pal were held by Menry Smith, who started the brand in Falston. So for anyone wondering how that pasteurization process started, you can point to Menry Smith. So in closing, Pal had about a 15-year run from 1945 to 1960, and a lot was accomplished in that time. It was one of the more popular orange drinks in its time, and as I said, there's a lot of different bottles you can collect. A really interesting soda history. So that is the history on Pal Ade. Thank you for listening and watching this episode of Let's Talk Soda Pop. And in our next episode, we are going to be talking about Daniel Boone beverages. A more obscure drink, but a really interesting drink at that. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you then.